Greetings and salutations, everybody. I have another dark one to build off of one that I posted just a few days ago, which is for Dark City. Figured I'd keep up with the theme, give you another kind of dark one here, which is for the 2021 Guillermo del Toro film Nightmare Alley, which stars a truly stellar cast in that we have Bradley Cooper, Rooney Mara, Cate Blanchett, Willem Defoe, Ron Perlman, Toni Collette, and Richard Jenkins, among others. And the synopsis is as follows. A grifter working his way up from low-ranking carnival worker to lauded psychic medium matches wits with a psychologist bent on exposing him. So, first off, this is based on a book of the same name, I believe, which was published way back, because this is actually one that they already did do a film adaptation of back in 1947, which was, from what I understand, where Guillermo del Toro had been kind of wanting to make his remake off of, having been a fan of that film and of that book. But big thing is that since this is written in part by him and directed by him, we not only see several recognizable faces from other productions, but a similar style in how he presents his film as well. So I would say the biggest similarities that I've seen are probably to the style of The Shape of Water from a few years earlier, especially. A dark noir feel in this film, as we are seeing this character, Bradley Cooper's character, with a mysterious past being brought on board at this carnival as he's looking for work. He's learning the ropes and eventually learns the art of mentalism. So we see quite a long build-up in that first hour. So that's one thing to get out of the way. You know, we're trying to get to know everybody. He's forming a bond with them, learning this mentalism kind of slowly on the side, getting to really know everybody here until we get to a point where we flash forward about 2 years after the carnival to catch up with where he is. But that hour is used well, you know, with the conversations and interactions with these others at this carnival, tell us a lot about that world, who these characters are, and who he is. And it's even laying out some cautionary tales regarding the more sketchy aspects of the carnival. Now, that first hour feels almost like a separate short film in a way, in how we see him learn everything and then move on. And when we do move on, by the time we see him having really moved up in the world, he's become very successful as a mentalist. But the overall story, without going into too much spoiler about exactly where it goes, is definitely a bit of a tragic one, as we are seeing, as the synopsis hints, like a downfall. So we have this portion where we get to know, we build up, he succeeds, and then broken down. Now going from this, you know, we're going from this dark and dirty carnival to more of like a high-class, posh, almost dinner theater-style mentalist bit who, you know, he gets a bit addicted to that success, almost turning down a road he was warned about, which is getting so good at this grift that you almost believe in those powers yourself. But as far as the cast goes, everybody in this brings their A game to the screen, whether it's being one of our main stars and Bradley Cooper, Rooney Mara, or Cate Blanchett, or somebody who's in a smaller role such as Ron Perlman and Toni Collette. And the way that Del Toro kind of brings this to the screen is simply immersive, in that the whole style and the way that this story has been stitched together really makes one forget about the current day and totally be absorbed in this story set in like the early to mid 40s. So the only warnings I will give as far as what to expect aren't so much around something not really working well in the film, so much as it's not a happy and triumphant story by design. It is a bit of a downer in some ways which early on you can kind of see where it may be going, and it does indeed go in those directions. So by the end, some aspects of it really are quite a bummer, but the journey is definitely with it. However, that is a long journey. It is clocking in at 2.5 hours, and while I never really felt that it dragged, since everybody brought so much to the screen in such a captivating way that I never really lost interest, this isn't a film to just casually pop on and sit down to. But one of those, kind of like, say, the Michael Mann film Heat. It's long, intense, very interesting, but you may have to kind of get in the right mindset to really sit down with this one and focus and pay attention to it to really take it all in. Because this story itself, this rise and fall, particularly of our lead, and how beautifully shot, performed, and put together by the end, this film was definitely more than worth checking out. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out this quick little video here for Nightmare Alley, which at the time of this video is available on FX Now, Fubo, and paid rental. Personally, I plan to try to track this one down on a 4K Blu-ray someday if it's available, because as I've said, it's gorgeously shot, and while a bit dark and somber at points, particularly as we close in toward the end, It really is a good one, I can see, not only adding to my collection, but hopefully tracking down the original from the 40s to kind of see what that original film was that inspired Del Toro to take on this project, which, from what I understand, he had been working on for decades, trying to rewrite the script and bring it to the screen. Anyways, that's a lot of rambling after the whole "and speaking of checking out" portion, but at any rate, I hope this recommendation sounds interesting and piques your interest. If so, head on over to one of those services and check it out. Thanks for coming by, and I will see you in the next one.